From the studios of Tucson Business Radio X, recorded in the Stewart Title corporate offices on Broadway, you are now listening to The Mark Bishop Show. And now here's your host, Mark Bishop.
And welcome again. The new #1 Netflix docuseries, Tiger King, is full of eccentric stories and characters. However, the criminal histories from the underworld of wild and exotic animal exhibitors are far more broad-reaching and serious. And the legal team at People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA as we know it, is leading the charge against colorful, criminal, captive wildlife exploiters in the United States. Jeff Kerr is general counsel to PETA. His team pursued Joe Exotic. I couldn't believe that series when I saw it. And he rescued nearly 50 animals who were in his custody. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate you having me on.
You're most welcome. You not only do many exhibitors confine animals in abusive conditions, Jeff, and treat them like disposable commodities, but many also have criminal records. So what's being done to keep wild animals out of confinement by exhibitors with dangerous criminal histories, as well as the risk their enterprises pose to the public?
Well, that's right, Mark. And certainly PETA's legal team has been combating these kinds of roadside zoos and exploiters for decades. And some of the most notorious of those that PETA fights do have criminal histories, including charges of cruelty to animals, illegal possession of animals, racketeering, sexual misconduct, and consumer fraud. And so what we are doing is several things, including litigation. We've got a series of lawsuits, federal lawsuits under the Federal Endangered Species Act in different parts of the country fighting to end the cruel big cat cub petting nationwide. And we just won a federal lawsuit in Florida that established that the premature separation of the tiger cubs from their mothers and using them in the encounters like you saw in Tiger King is a violation of the Endangered Species Act. And we've also succeeded in getting the first of its kind preliminary injunction against Tim Stark, who was featured in Tiger King, in another Endangered Species Act case, prohibiting him from doing the separation and public encounters, but also prohibiting him from declawing these big cats, which is essentially it's cutting off their toes at the first joint, at the first knuckle, which is horribly painful and cruel and a violation of law. We're also exposing the criminal histories of some of these roadside zoo exhibitors. For example, a guy named Randy Stearns, who helped operate Dade City's Wild Things in Florida, is a registered sex offender who pled guilty to 2 counts of sexual misconduct in 2016 after exposing himself to 2 minors. We had a lawsuit against the Mobile Zoo in Alabama to free Joe, who was a chimpanzee confined in isolation. We got him rescued to a proper sanctuary, and as a result of our information, the owner of the Mobile Zoo was later convicted of 14 counts of cruelty to animals and shut down. And it goes on.
It just goes on and on. I mean, I've got a list here. I think you rescued 73 bears, 50 tigers and other big cats, 12 primates from lives of privation, including tigers, bears, chimpanzees, baboons, from the roadside zoo.
That's right.
This one belonged to Joseph L. Maldonado, the Passage, Joe Exotic. And these animals are now thriving in reputable sanctuaries, right, which provide animals with lifelong homes in naturalistic habitats. I think they'd feel a lot better, wouldn't they? Huh.
That's exactly right. And of the animals that you just mentioned, 39 tigers, 3 bears, 2 chimpanzees, and 2 baboons came from Joe Exotic's facility, and they are in reputable sanctuaries. Of course, Doc Antle, who was portrayed in Tiger King, he's got a long and dirty history of more than 75 federal animal welfare violations. Mario Tabrao used his exotic animal business as a front for his drug enterprise, his narcotics trafficking enterprise in the 1980s. So, yeah, it is truly a rogues gallery. And the most important thing people can do is just never go to one of these roadside zoos. People can visit PETA.org. We've got all the information of the histories of these abusers that were in the show and detailing how they suffer in ways that the series glossed over.
Well, the disturbing histories of notorious animal exhibitors, including Ringling Brothers Circus, and the criminal acts
That's
of key
right.
players from the Tiger King, including posing as a charity, operating without proper licenses to possess and operate a business featuring exotic animals. And you're right, drug smuggling and racketeering. Let me ask you a couple of questions here, Jeff. What animal issues do you feel went unexplored by the Tiger King docuseries?
Well, certainly it didn't go nearly far enough in exploring the inherent cruelty in the roadside zoo and cub petting industry. For example, what you didn't see in Tiger King at the GW Zoo is behind the scenes with the rows of 10-foot by 10-foot cages where two big cats per cage are confined, pacing back and forth in these cells. The stench of urine and just the psychological and physical trauma being inflicted on these animals who are nothing more than a commodity and are effectively useless to them after they've aged out of being able to be used in these cub petting, cub petting and selfie and photographs.
Yeah.
So just the whole history of that, and of course Joe, after his conviction, in part for illegal trafficking endangered animals and killing 5 tigers in cold blood, has been in touch with us. My colleague Brittany Pete, who is in Tiger King, and he reports to us that Doc Ansel, when tiger cubs become useless to him, he gases them and cremates them at a facility on his property.
No.
So this is some of the stuff that's going on. Jeff Lowe,
Right.
in the show, he's a convicted felon. He was convicted. He pled guilty to felony mail fraud for posing as domestic violence charity in 2008 in South Carolina, and his home in Las Vegas was raided in 2017 by authorities who seized 2 big cats in the lemur, where he didn't have the required license to have them. He was ordered to pay $10,000 and issued a stay out of trouble order, but he's violated that. And his case is still pending, and next hearing is due in June. So, it just goes on and on.
Well, folks, I'm speaking with Jeff Kerr, if you've just joined us, because he's general counsel to PETA and its international affiliates for nearly 25 years now. And Jeff has built and leads the world's largest legal team working for animal rights. He's a good fellow. So, circus exhibitors with criminal histories. Has PETA prevailed in any lawsuits against these exhibitors of late?
Absolutely. Like I said, we just won that case. It was against against Dade City's Wild Things, or DCWT in Florida, where for the first time it established that the premature separation and use of these cubs in public encounters is a violation of federal law. The other cases are ongoing. We feel very confident about our ability to win our case against Tim Stark, and we've been instrumental working with law enforcement and other regulators trying to get these facilities shut down. The Mobile Zoo I mentioned is shut down. Certainly, you mentioned Ringling Brothers earlier. That's a facility that we got shut down after 35 years of protests and legal complaints.
Well, that surprises me. I got to tell you.
Yeah. Well, and they had, in addition to the animal abuse they were inflicting with beatings with bull hooks and whipping tigers, they had contracts with people that were charged with a stabbing, muggings, sexual assault, and a bank robbery, to name a few.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So it's so important for people to take away from Tiger King that these people are animal abusers.
I was just blown away even seeing the thing. I was surprised that it was even aired But, now having seen it and then interviewing you and reading some more research, unless they aired it, we never would have known, in a lot of cases. Yeah. So this helps you. This helps PETA greatly because, the public don't know. But anyway, look, other than the obvious, what is wrong with having animals in captivity?
Well, quite simply, they don't belong there. These are these are wild animals who belong in their natural environment. And there's nothing about conservation, despite the lies that these abusers will tell you. There's nothing about conservation involved in the breeding of these tigers. They're generic tigers. They couldn't possibly be released to the wild. And so certainly the reputable sanctuaries that are out there, like Carol Baskin's sanctuary that's portrayed in Tiger King, they are part of the solution, and they are giving good lifelong homes for these animals. But people need to know that they should only go to a facility that is accredited by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries and never go to these roadside zoos.
Right. No, fair enough then. And the irony of it is that the globe is being depleted of these beautiful animals anyway. The last thing we should be doing is putting them in these darn cages because they, as you say, they can't go back to the wild.
That's exactly right.
It's unbelievable.
That's exactly right.
It's so sad. Folks, if you'd like to know more, there's a lot to read on PETA.org. That's still the exact website, isn't it, Jeff? www.peta.org. PETA.org. Is that the best site?
That is the best site, and if people can go there, they can donate to us to support our legal cases, and also find out all the sordid histories and backgrounds of the abusers in that series.
I noticed your team was named Corporate Counsel Magazine's 2017 Best Legal Department. You had a high-profile cases, the 13th Amendment case, Tillicum versus SeaWorld. That was a big one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mark, thank you very much.
You're most welcome, and good luck in the future.